Thank you for coming to the Planning and Licensing Committee on Wednesday the 28th of August. Do we have any apologies?
We certainly do. We have apologies from Councillors Williamson and Brooke this evening.
Right. But we got two of our substitutes here, which is excellent. Declaration of interest, anybody got anything they know about, or as and when if it comes up? Meeting management issues, I see we have somebody in the gallery, so we'll probably bring that item, whichever one it is, up to the front of the agenda. Just go through the very early stuff. Minutes, has everybody read the minutes of the 14th of August? Everybody happy with them?
Yeah.
Or proposed?
I was having fun.
Yeah, fair enough. One abstention, everybody else seems to be happy with them. Any matters arising? No, right. Oh, the only thing, I don't know, how are we doing with the letter?
We're doing fine with the letter. The letter, the letter is done, dusted. You don't need to worry about the letter.
Oh,
okay.
So is it gone?
I've been away for a couple of days.
Yes.
I know that Andy has gone. Andy's now on holiday,
Oh,
so I will need to check with the office. But I've only come in like late this afternoon because I've been away for a couple of days. So I'll update you.
Right, thanks very much. Right, public question time. The floor is yours. You come to talk about a specific. You know the deal, so you switch it on, make sure it's on. Tell us what application you're doing.
When the same people turn up, we do feel loved.
Yes. We have an audience, and not only do we have an, but since this is the first time we have now a super duper sharing our screen. Yeah. It's impressive when it works. Right, off you go, Lisa.
Thank you. I am here on behalf of the applicants for the proposed replacement of Morgana Alexandra Road with a pair of attached dwellings. That's PA 2406058. The property currently comprises 2 apartments, one over each floor, and with a store at a lower level. Currently, the property is hard to access due to the steep drive and the tight area at the top of the driveway, given that it serves 2 holiday properties. The property itself is not in great condition and is not of great architectural merit as such that adds positively to the area, subjective as that may be. For this reason, it's proposed to push the footprint back by approximately 1 metre, which should benefit the property which is to the east, providing a greater view from that property. The relationship between these 2 properties is a bit odd, as there's a large picture window within the side elevation of Morgana that looks straight onto the balcony and partly into the lounge of that neighbouring property, which you can just see to the right-hand side. And these proposals should ensure a greater privacy to both properties. The 2 dwellings would be adjoining and would follow similar design principles with pitched roofs with a deep overhang to the front over enclosed balconies. However, the layout, size, levels and use of materials does differ between the 2, so that the properties don't necessarily read as a pair of dwellings, such as the one you can just see you can see the pair above, which are a pair of spectacles. I don't know if they call them the spectacles in some parts, but they won't read like that. They're supposed to be read slightly differently. So you can see, so that's Morgana. The property at the top, behind that one, that was 2 new dwellings, and they are 2 very identical modern square rectangular buildings. So we wanted to go for a scheme that didn't appear as 2 identical properties due to the variation of design in the area. So each would be read as a single story from the rear due to being dug into the rising ground, and each property would benefit from a rear garden, which the current layout doesn't allow for at the moment. The properties would be higher than the existing ridge, however being located on rising land where there is variation in design and the heights, and a residential background at a higher level, as well as the variation in heights between the 2 units, would assimilate the properties into the land and the streetscape. Parking for 2 cars in the larger dwelling, which would be retained for the use of the applicants, would be set below a garden area to the side of the house, while the smaller unit would have a garage for 1 car and a parking space outside, which would not be in the way of the access to the other unit. As a new build, an energy assessment has been undertaken and submitted, which requires an air source heat pump, or advises on an air source heat pump, mechanical heat recovery and solar PV for both properties, as well as a fabric first approach. Online, we've had 1 positive comment received and no objections, and we're meeting the immediate neighbour on Friday to discuss boundary treatment and any other queries they may have. They've indicated that they're supportive at this stage, but just want to talk and walk through the plans. And thank you for your time, and we hope that you can support the proposals, which we've synthetically designed with a contemporary approach to a traditional form with pitched roofs. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
The two properties, if you look at the front view to the right, is there a height differential between that and then as you come down onto, so there's what that one you can just see there is part of a pair on the right hand side.
Yeah, it'll still be lower.
So there's you continue to, okay, that's cool.
So, can we go back to the block plan again? So just for my own benefit, to get there, you're going up from what I consider the bottom. That's the road into it, is it?
Yes,
and the parking is where?
Up the driveway. So the red lines, that's that access from Adelaide Road. So it's about 7 properties that come off that page, but because it's not public highway, that's why the red line's included in it. So the red line, the applicants own only where, there's the site itself where it goes straight down to join that lane. But then the curving red line, that's
not part of the, that's
no,
private
that's not
land.
their ownership, but we have to include it in the red line, it not being public highway. Some places they've noticed in the newspaper.
So you're parking where it says Morgana? Yeah,
so parking, so one is at the lower ground floor of the unit on the right, and then so that's for one vehicle, and then there's parking to the front of that as well. And then the parking to the other unit is if you come up the driveway and go directly left, there's going to be a sort of an undercroft sort of garden area with parking below for 2 cars. And then the house, you'll see on the elevation plans, both the houses face towards Porth and towards the road and the car park. So you'll see how that kind of works if you see the floor plans.
So you're going to have 4 parking places in total?
Yeah.
Anybody else want to ask anything? Yes, Katie.
Hi, thank you. Just a very tiny question. You mentioned solar panels, and I'm just looking at the site plan and looking down on the roof, and I don't see them there. Are they?
Yeah, I think we got the energy assessment sort of at a very late stage of the plan, so they will go on. If the officer wants them to go on, or we can add them to the roof plan. It's just that the plans were finished and signed off and submitted before the energy assessment came through. So those solar panels, there's plenty of roof space because it's pitch roof.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi. When I looked through, I couldn't see anything about water drainage.
It's soakaway.
There is a soakaway that's in there. Is there plans that I missed?
Yes.
It? Okay.
I don't know whether it's shown on the plans. We don't need to do that. Normally it's shown on the just on the building regs plans, but it's proposed to go to soakaway at the moment.
Is tending to come in on these and giving very detailed, because they don't want any water running into their sewers.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
Yeah, and
surprised I haven't commented yet.
But I think you said though that the drive is going to be block work, didn't you? So was permeable, is that right? Is that the one?
Sorry, off the top of my head, I don't know if the plans show the surfacing. Duncan, I don't suppose you could put the site plan up. Normally, ARC always propose.
It needs to be a
permeable surface, for that extent.
Yeah, not impermeable. I can't remember if this was.
But I'm more than happy to get those details clarified if you want to caveat anything.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, it's been so long, I forgot to press my button. I noticed that the presumably private road up from Alexander Road is past the former shop and post office is quite a steep rise. Have you done anything to ameliorate access for disabled people? So because obviously you can't affect the gradient of the private road itself, but what within the approach to the property, what's the approach to that?
No, we've not proposed any changes to the slope of the
that's
driveway, only because it's quite narrow itself, and so I think the impact, potential impact on the property to either side would be quite tricky to manage. But we've pushed the property back partly to make a better turning area, because at the moment it's just a bit sketchy for one large car.
Yeah,
to be up there.
one of the reasons I ask is for turning purposes, for disabled drivers, head turning is difficult sometimes. So we rely on someone so a wider turning space, but that's a good answer. Thank you.
I mean, the illustrations sort of indicate quite high walls. Is that what they're intending to do?
No, I agree. They're not reflective of what will be, and we're not proposing any. Yeah, I think there was a little bit of artistic license, to be honest, because that.
Trees as well. They always good.
Yeah, make a little bit over the top. No, those are just purely indicative. Those types of illustrations are to show the building really as to how it works and sits together. Not the surroundings are sort of not necessarily, and the boundary treatment. So that's one of the things we were talking to the neighbour about on Friday.
Like that would be a miracle. Duncan.
Yeah, no, they're not going to be like that.
I was just, when I was looking at these, I was interested in that wall as well, because but I guessed it's probably artistic license. The rear gardens look very much like they're almost totally hard landscaped.
Yeah, certainly.
Can you tell us about those?
Yeah,
So
on
we'll
the
be looking at
plans,
that.
particularly that top level on that image at the bottom, the right hand side, that's on the actual plans. It's proposed as garden, but also we've got an ecologist at the moment, and biodiversity Nick Gain being going to be supplementing the application. And I think those were, again, that's sort of illustrative, and I think will change. I think the applicants went for sort of fairly low maintenance, and I agree it's sort of too hard a surface, and I don't think we haven't provided a landscaping plan, but I think what's indicated might not necessarily be what the ecologist recommends anyway.
You'd be asking for a landscaping plan.
Yeah, so it's the same. So it's a landscaping plan and boundary plan that would finalise those details. And as I say, the B&G side of it is going to be coming in and supplementing the application. So I think that will change that element of it. And again, happy to, if you want to caveat that as in any way, absolutely fine. Because I agree, it's not, the images I don't think are really what we wanted.
Thank you. Just going to the proposed ground floor and first floor, are these two separate dwellings?
They are, yes.
Because the parking seems to be all together. I might be misreading the plan. You've got parking and Undercroft with two, and then you've got the other two, but that seems to be one building, or am I reading that?
They are linked, but they're two independent dwellings. So
but the parking definitely doesn't seem to be. That's what I'm querying.
Yeah, so the parking for Unit 1, which is the bigger one on the left-hand side, that's the Undercroft. So there's a garden above that. So that's for two, and then on the ground floor of the unit on the right, which faces, which is the one angled away, that's on the lower ground floor of that unit for one parking space, and then you can just see a vehicle sort of to the front of that, and the spacing, we've allowed enough space so that vehicles can get out of the one there, of the
It's just unit. I can't get my head around that they are two separate units, but the parking is all. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
It's kind of, I suppose it's a shared courtyard, a shared kind of entrance area.
Okay, that's all I'm asking, because if you're going to sell them as two separate properties, future down the line, I'm just wondering how does that work, because they're not separate.
So this is under.
Yours a bit different.
For one, two vehicles for one, the bigger of the two houses.
Yeah.
And then it's got under the building parking for one space and the other one there. But
Yeah.
One house might use 3 places and only leaving one for the other, but they just have to sort them out.
Yeah,
They have to
I
sort them out.
appreciate that, but I'm just trying to elicit, it's 2 properties and the parking seems to be together, so I'd like to ask that question, councillor Alison.
I would say one of the parking places is up for grabs, the other 2 have to be right associated with buildings. Anybody else got any other questions? I see we've got somebody else in public questions. What we now do is we close public questions and then we go with the permission committee. And then we'll go immediately talk about this application. And then we'll open public questions again and look at what will come of that. So I'm proposing now that we close public questions and that we move up the agenda application 6.
I think that's the.
You seconded?
Yeah.
Chairman's doing that? Right, thank you very much. Duncan, I think this is one of yours.
As has been noted then, we've got on the register there was one comment of public support. They did note, it's actually on the back page of your comments document, Mr Hayward did note, he said he would ask that adequate provision be made during construction to ensure traffic is managed. So I would suggest that he probably lives quite close by and is keen that he's not sort of blocked in or anything like that. Right, I think we've familiarised ourselves with the location of the property already. Morgana comprises 2 buildings, a building which contains 2 apartments across 2 floors.
Have we got a long distance view?
Yeah, I'm sure that we can fashion one somehow.
Oh, okay.
So I mean that's looking from the road, a little more distance. Yeah. That I didn't really see any indication if these would be sort of just holiday or if they would be marketed as residential dwellings, but they're both covered by the same use class. So, so yeah, very quickly then, the location plan, just so that you can see the relationship. We've mentioned the properties along Whipsted Close that runs along the sort of to the north of the site there. The existing site plan, we haven't seen that yet, so I'll have a quick look. Yeah, so as you see, they've got this communal parking set up here. But as we see from the proposed, that communal driveway becomes larger. I think we've established that the property is set back slightly further. The proposed illustrations, just quickly see if we've got any observations that I'd scribbled down about those. So yeah, we've got the proposed pitched roof dwellings. Both benefit from inset balconies, undercroft parking and standing zinc seam finish to most of the building. I've written in my notes here what is going on with those walls, but we've already established that. Yeah, and we've already covered the landscaping. But yeah, you can see sort of appreciate the inset balconies are sort of a key feature, kind of looking out sort of towards the beach. In terms of elevations, I think we'll just look at the proposed, to be honest. I don't think we need to dwell on the existing.
They're completely demolishing the building, aren't they?
They are completely demolishing the building. Right, so the east elevation, this is the side facing the nearest property, so it's approximately 5 metres distance. I think that the notes mention the materials, stone cladding, zinc metal. We have the inclusion of bird boxes, not many windows on there either. And that's dwelling 1 and dwelling 2 that you're looking at there. The north facing, I think we come along. So the north elevation. As Lisa said, from the rear they sort of present as single story. So so this is the rear view. Lots of glass, as you'll appreciate. Again, there's the inclusion of, I think, bat box bricks installed flush with the stonework. Scroll down to the business end of the property. If you like the front, street facing, views across Porth Beach. Just zoom in slightly. These lines, you've got the proposed ridge height and you've got the existing ridge height. You're talking about a 3 metre difference between the two. One's 3 and one's 2. Well, yes, sorry, they aren't, because they aren't the same. Sorry, one's 3 and one's going to be just over 2, maybe 2.5 at the most. And then we've got this is the side facing the sort of Alexandra Road, the hill, the Whipsnade Lodge side, which that's probably about 35 metres away. Again, there's not many windows put in place there. Quick look at the floor plans. Ground floor, let's have a look. So property number 1, so as we were looking at them, the one on our left, that has 2 garage spaces. Number 2 has just the 1. The application form tells us that the existing number of spaces there is 3 and the total proposed is 5. I think the idea is there'll be 3 between the two properties, 3 garage places plus another parking space out in that communal driveway. Just trying to think if there's any other interesting things there. Number 1 has at the ground floor, that's on the left there, mix of utility, storage and an office. No main habitable rooms down there. And number 2 has an interesting setup with an entrance hall, a bedroom off the entrance hall with ensuite next to the internal garage. And then if we look at the first floor, hopefully I can fit all that on. Again, on the larger, squarer block is number 1. You can see it's the bigger apartment. It has 3 double bedrooms with ensuite and what looks like 2 living rooms, or a living room with a little bit off it. Number 2 benefits from 2 ensuite bedrooms at first floor level, and then we do have a floor above that as well. So the second floor plan for apartment or building number 1, you've sort of got a very open plan: living, dining room, kitchen, and another bedroom. Both benefit from these inset terraces looking out across Porth Beach. Yeah, and a similar open plan for the smaller of the 2 apartments. And then we've got metal roof set up. Yeah, nothing too exciting or interesting there. A small section of green roof on what looks like the apartment number 2 or building number 2, the offset one. I'll just note that for interest. Yeah, so we've got a 4-bedroom apartment and a 3-bedroom apartment. In terms of parking, there, meet our requirements more than adequately.
Yeah, so it's not really messing it. It's not an observation. I mean, if you go far back towards Four Turns, Four Turns, you get a 2016 view. So you see the private road pre the flat roof buildings, and the increase in ridge height appears to mirror the increase in ridge height there. So which kind of follows the tiering thing. And
That would be my question, is it
Yeah,
10 feet?
but we've already allowed those really tall ones that weren't really tall before behind it to, so that kind of,
They're looking over the top.
yeah. So they look over the top. I think the inclusion of the reset balconies provides an advantage over the current setting. So there's a reduced need for artificial cooling if there's high sun, because it's previously it's flat fenestration on the existing building, which if you have sun straight through the window, obviously you have to cool that artificially somehow. I think the layout of the buildings is pretty good for the space. I think it's not over ambitious. The parking seems to meet our criteria. I wouldn't unless it was a replacement building. I wouldn't normally like thing up such a steep private road because of access, but it's on the seafront. You know, it will get frosted very occasionally.
Yeah. Proposal.
I think support.
Is there a seconder for that? John the second, right. Anybody else got something to say?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Duncan, can we have a look at the plan? Where's the door to get into the back garden? I didn't see a door access on that or the floor guard. And if you go to the living space floor, one above there,
There's side entrances. There isn't there?
Go to the floor above as well, there isn't.
No, but there's side entrances, isn't there? If you go down, there's side entrances towards the back.
It's
Right.
I think that it would. I think it's going to be. Let's just have a look at that illustrative image. I'm presuming that. Have we got one of the back?
Yeah, the bottom. Go to the bottom. That's it. That one. Can you enlarge that? It just seems odd that there's no entrance into the back, the quite, the back
That's
garden.
not actually, it's an odd thing, but it's not exactly a planning reason.
Well,
You
I
can't
don't know.
redesign something.
Those are doors, that we're looking at, the glass there.
Those are large glass walls. There's no door in there.
No, there's a sliding.
They're doors.
Oh, they are.
I think possibly you're just wondering whether.
Sorry, you can't, at this point, you can't,
So the right, okay.
If you go down, you can see side doors out of the kitcheny space and everything.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry, Katie?
I guess on that note, I'd just rather we raise some of the points that we've all brought up already, and if we capture those, then maybe I'm willing to.
Landscaping and the drainage. Is that what you were talking about?
So yes, so very specifically that first one, as you say, the hard landscaping that we'd want to. I mean, personally, I'd rather just not object because there's four things that are very unclear. There's a brilliant work gone into it, but we're being given your verbal.
No, we can caveat it.
Well, normally we're given the final design, in my experience at least, and so the first one, as you say, was that hard, what currently looks like paving. So
So we'd like to see a landscape.
well, and specifically the Newquay neighbourhood plan talks about the greenery and biodiversity, and so at the moment there's just paving. So
Green infrastructure section of the system design document.
okay, but I didn't. Well, it sounds as though that doesn't actually yet speak to that particular piece of the property. It's sort of more high level. So personally, I'd rather just not object on the grounds that we don't have that clarification yet.
Well, we
Yes.
have a proposal to be voted upon.
So I'm making a counter proposal, I guess. So firstly is that one, that clarification that the backyard in fact has greenery rather than just paving. The second that others have raised about the walls up the driveway, I agree that on the grounds that we're presuming that, I guess, the current walls are kept and not the ones that are in the drawings. And then this third point was that the solar panels are actually on the roofs, which at the moment also are mentioned in the energy report, but not confirmed in the drawings.
But we can support that subject to.
Okay.
We tend to use no objection in those caveats rather if
Well,
we're saying
I've been
support.
here a few years. I know what we tend to do.
Okay.
Well, those of us who've been
But
this
we-
past year or so.
Is there a waste and recycling area?
Well, there better be. There's plenty of space for them.
You've got garage space, storage space, utility room, etc. I don't know if you want something more specific there.
Yeah, houses. So we're presuming there is waste storage. So anyway, if any,
Oh, and just to second, sorry, Councillor North's point on the parking, just if the officer could check for us that it really does, that the cars really can move in the space, which I think it does look like they can, but nevertheless, it's hard for us
It's
to...
a fair space there. I don't think there'd be too much question about that.
competition between the two households, and that is their problem. Right, so we have a proposal to support. So seconded, show of hands for supporting, plus all the comments should be. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's
Yeah, but we will keep all the comments about the landscaping.
Yes.
Yes.
Support subject to the points that we
Yeah.
Satisfaction responses and all. Okay then, that's that one. Thank you for coming in. Thank you.
Can I just nip to the loo for a second?
We're going to have public questions now. Thank you very much. Okay.
See you next time.
Are you Right, welcome back. Welcome back, and I'm proposing to reopen public questions. Seconded. That's Sarah. Show of hands for reopening public questions. You've done it before, but do come back and sit at the mic. The lights should be on. Explain who you are, what application you're doing, and what you want to tell us.
I've just been to the dentist and had 2 fillings.
Oh dear.
And a pen back.
Where's that gone? Oh, for goodness sake.
Do I press this button?
It's on.
Oh, okay. I'm Julie White and I'm representing the application for Jampen for the new building.
What can you tell us?
Well, the shed at the moment is not really fit for purpose to continue any further, get to any more seasons. It's just constant maintenance and not really big enough.
So is it that building you're planning to change?
Yes.
Didn't you come in with planning permission fairly recently?
Did I what, sorry?
Didn't you?
They gave us a presentation.
Yeah, it's a presentation.
Yes.
Oh, it was a presentation of the planning permission.
Yeah.
So you basically want to replace the existing hut with a permanent building.
Yeah.
Is it bigger?
Yeah, it's going to use the same size of footprint because to the right of the shed now, we've got another shed, what we call our warehouse, where we do we keep all our stock and umbrellas and things that we need in the gardens. And then to the left of it, we've now just put a canopy there and some toilets.
I was going to say you're going to put in, you're going to put in public toilets.
Which has been good for people when it's sunny as well, not just when it's raining.
So will you expect those toilets to be used by passers-by, or is it limited to people?
It will be closed when we're closed.
Sorry?
What do you mean passers-by when we've got the building?
Somebody not actually using the facility, but actually using the loos, just...
I don't know, it depends how much it will get used in that. I don't want to sign saying public toilets that way and just have constant queue. No.
So you're hoping not?
No, hoping not, no. Although we do let everybody use our toilets at the moment.
Yeah.
But we don't want them signposted.
Can you blow that up a bit, please, Duncan?
Yeah, sure.
If we had more space, then we could do. But it's only going to have one disabled toilet, which will be unisex.
So we don't have an existing site plan, unfortunately.
No.
I think there is a...
So what we're saying is we can't tell from that how much bigger what you're building is than the current shed. So it looks to me like it's slightly wider, is it?
Yes, it goes from the wall to the other wall. Have you not got the plans with all that on?
There is a document called
Existing site plan.
There is?
Yes, existing floor plan, sorry.
Yeah, no, so, yeah, we don't have an existing...
Well, it has the footprint though. Basically, from what I can see, at the moment there's a cafe, and now the building. I was speaking, sorry.
No, that was my thing.
Oh, at the moment there appears to be a cafe on the, and there'd be an extension on the left with a bigger seating area, in summary. Look like doubling the building space by the look
Do you
of.
have our other trusty photograph? Because I recognise that one, I took it. We used it at the licensing application, but I also had a picture that was looking straight up the hills. Have we got that one somewhere? Or was that just lost?
I think it would take me a few minutes. What I can tell you is that the gross internal area increases from 13 square metres to 41 square metres. So it's a significantly larger larger building.
Just one floor?
Yes.
And the toilets are part of the main block, or are they to the...
They're kind of to the side to the left, so it'll be in the seating area.
Right, and you've got toilets already, so you don't have a problem with South West Water?
No.
I mean, a lot of this was in the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of just ticked all the boxes that you requested.
Whereabouts are the toilets on there, Julie?
In the existing or in the new build?
This is the proposed.
So there'll be, as you walk in, the cafe, the cooking area will be to the right, and straight forward will be the toilet.
There's another document, proposed ground floor document. There, that's them. There. Yeah, yeah.
So instance, you've got presumably those are tables inside.
Yeah. It just enables us to open all year through rather than just 5 months.
Yes, so effectively, you're going to be opening.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you would expect to have your tables and chairs along the edge of the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Anybody got any questions, Katie?
It looks great generally. Just curious, tiny question, if you have yet designed in any bird boxes or bat boxes.
Yeah, we do have some of them anyway in the
Thank
back
you.
on the
So-
golf course.
Shan't ask for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks great. Thank you.
Have you got any solar panels?
There is some solar panels going on the top.
Yeah, because it's a real sun trap there. It'd be a real shame.
Yeah.
And they'll be sort of, are they going to be like at an angle on the roof? Is that
Yeah, I think they call it eco something or other. I can't remember what they were called. I've got a name of them.
I know it's probably nothing to do with planning. Do you own that land or is it leased from?
Least.
Leased. And I know, again, not planning, you have to get permission from them to do it or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have already had permission.
Anybody else, Sarah?
I notice on our application 3, aren't we? Yeah, the Steve Church from the Southwest Coastal Footpath. Notice that the coastal footpath isn't actually marked on your plans, and just once we need to reinforce that the public footpath is kept available at all times during demolition and reconstruction.
Yeah, we are waymakers of the coastal, Southwest Coastal Path. So I have a stamp where I stamp the passports and...
I'm only enjoying highlighting the comment that's been made here. That's all I'm saying.
How long do you reckon it's going to take you to build? Are you talking about next season?
Hopefully.
So you'll be building over the winter?
Yeah.
Will there be any change to that area in red with the crisscrosses, so the area out the front, the paved area, or?
That's the public footpath, isn't it?
Yes.
No, there'll be no
No,
change.
so you're just leaving
Yeah,
it.
that remained open.
Right, I guess this is a tricky one, especially because it's not your land, but if trucks need to come in to build your property, which is, or your cafe,
Yeah.
which we're supporting, well, it sounds like we're probably keen to support. Just a comment on if the trucks do damage to that, as you know, sometimes heavy trucks can do, my concern would then become in the winter that it becomes muddy and that affects the Southwest Coast Path, but also affects your business a bit. And so just, and maybe this isn't planning, I'm not sure, well, it kind of is in a sense, because we have a responsibility to sort of speak up for access and things like that, to have a think about whether you might need to repave or gravel or something there after the construction. Restore it to something safe.
We would look after it and make sure it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so just a comment on that one, but
Fair point. Anybody else got anything else? So what happens now is we're closed public questions and we're not technically, well, then can't, technically you can't join in again, but occasionally we sort of look at the sky and so I'm going to propose we close public questions. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Secondly by Sarah. Sarah cancelled closing public questions. I also changing the agenda so this one comes right up to talk about now.
It's applications 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Two applications. Right. So we'll
Do 3 first, I think.
So moving 3 and 4 up the agenda, is everybody happy with that? Sarah seconded, chair, thanks for support. Thank you very much. Over to you, Duncan.
Right. Okay. So yeah, there is a one comment of public support. as Councillor Thompson mentioned, there was one comment. I think it's just a technical thing. I think it refers to labelling some of this area at the front as Southwest Coast Path, but the Southwest Coast Path Association have raised no objection. Sorry, was it no? It's the Ramblers, I think, that had. Yeah. They say public footpath number 42 passes right through this area. It doesn't just begin here, but I think that's just a technical issue for the labelling of the plans. But they are saying that this area must be kept clear because it is, as it says on the plan, public access to the coastal path.
And that picks up Katie's point about the need to restore it to its.
Yes, yeah, indeed. So just so that you're aware of that. Yeah, so back in March, I think it was February actually, we looked at the premises. No, sorry, back in March we looked at the premises licence application, and in February we welcomed the presentation from the owners regarding future plans for the structure, which the built structure that's there at the moment. I think we all agreed it was pretty much at the end of its useful life. And as I say, to be clear, we are looking at two applications here, although it's all come in on one strange application form that I've never seen before, which included both planning permission and advertising consent. But we'll look at the planning first. So, very quickly then, briefly to explain, this is the land used by the business is owned and leased from Cornwall Council. The red line site is just the application site. Normally we'd expect a blue line site, but it's not. That land isn't actually in the ownership of the applicants, hence no blue line on that one. The proposed site, as I say, we don't have an existing site plan, but the proposed gives us an idea of the layout. And as I say, the footprint increases from 13 square metres to 41 square metres altogether. So a significantly larger building in its place. I thought it was useful to look at the finishes before we look at the actual building itself. They've been nice and neatly coded here. So where on the next plans that we see, where you see W1, that refers to Cornish stone walling. W2 is a silicate render, which is supposed to be very good for this kind of our kind of slightly salty, damp environment. And then the double glazed low E coated glazing as well is shown. There is a lot of glass, as you will see in a moment. I'm not too bothered about the existing elevations, but I think the proposed are of obviously much more interest to us. So the south, in the south elevation in the top left corner, that will be reasonably visible when heading up Alexandra Road. It's effectively looking out over that tarmacked area there. We're looking at as you can see, a single-storey purpose-built cafe with a low-profile photovoltaic panel on the roof. It appears to have a little bit less glass than the sketches that we saw back in February. I'm sure there are technical reasons for that. Also, I'll just zoom in on this signage, which we will look at in a little bit more detail on the next application. Okay. The west, that faces up towards the open green area, that side. The open green area used for the football, golf. The east elevation in the bottom left-hand corner, that's the most visible view of the building when heading up Alexandra Road. Effectively, it's this side here, where it says Jamp and Cafe. That's finished in a mix of the stonework, W2, and the render, and the north elevation, the rear, that's really not going to be that visible. It's there is some fencing around it. It's largely going to be screened off by planting. We had a look at the existing floor plan briefly. Effectively, that's I think you can see on that bottom image there. That's the that dotted line is effectively the size of the kiosk at the moment. The new kiosk will pretty much be filling this full area around it, so you can appreciate the increase in footprint. What was that one? Proposed roof plan I was going to look at quickly. There we go. Just worth noting, I thought the top drawing, proposed roof frame. We don't often see proposed roof frames, but that shows that the roof will be a different shape to the building. So effectively, you've got a bit of an angled overhang on either side of the building, and then the second drawing just shows us the concealed guttering and the photovoltaic panels that would be involved. But I'll just go back to the cafe. That's, you know, this is effectively, you know, a much larger, smarter purpose-built building.
Yeah, comment on anything really. I think if we talk about the difference between 13 square metres and 41 square metres, we're talking about the difference between P and B. It's, you know, 41. Yeah, it's tiny. 41 square metres is 1% of the size of it. You know, that's it is a tiny building becoming slightly less tiny. You know, that's so before we look at the, you know, it is a big increase, but it's a you know, it's an increase for things we demand. Better seating, better viewing, disabled accessibility. I think from the presentation we saw and the plans, there's, you know, there's water, drainage access. I think the impact on the vista from Port Beach will be an improvement. I think glass is better than a shed. It's inoffensive, but it's also a kind of nothingness, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know what the comments about the Southwest Coast Path and everything. You know, you know, public rights of way have limited protection anyway, so we don't need to say that needs to stay open. It has to stay open by law. You know, unless a closure order is placed on it, it cannot be closed. So, you know, that would be very discriminating if somebody were to accidentally go.
It's emergency access as well, and we like to speak.
Yeah, it's, again, the Coast Guard really did. I mean, it's a bit, the Coast Path is not much used at the moment because unless you're going to Port Island, the journeys are yeah, I broadly support, but I'm not going to make another proposal because I've done one already. So but I think it's great.
I'll just make
the finishing. I think the stone wall is lovely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make one more point. Sorry, my notes carried on onto the other page. I didn't quite notice. The application form shows that surface water would run into the main sewer, and I noted that South West Water haven't been consulted on this.
Yes. I like that.
And a ventilation and extraction statement has also been provided because of the cooked food, but oddly, public protection weren't consulted either, which is peculiar, I thought. But
So it's probably worth saying you need to talk to public protection about these because they have also started about extracting gas. And yeah, I'm surprised about South West Water because they are. I mean, I don't know if you have if it's a storm outlet there or not, but they are very hot on not putting water into their sewers.
Yeah.
So,
The existing runoff will be the same anyway.
so would that be the planning officer who needs to get you consult with them?
I think that we could include that as a question in whatever comment we return.
I mean, otherwise you just let it run onto Port Beach, isn't it? It's not exactly a long way away from Anybody else got a question they want to ask?
Isn't it sort of a question?
Sarah, I think
Yeah.
you started and then
Yeah. Sorry, Katie, I hadn't realised you. I noticed that because we discussed this before about drilling down for foundations. I noticed in the cross section that there will be drilling down for foundations, but I've just looked from Google Earth image, and you are actually away from the coast
They're not within the
boundaries, so that's not necessarily an issue. I was just checking where the inlet was that was there. So I'm quite happy to propose no objection, pending that South West Water's consulted the.
Well, they might not need to be. I
They
mean,
might
we
not
can't
need to
insist
be.
that they are, but we
But
can
for
ask
the
the
runoff,
question.
yeah, for the runoff, yeah.
Why would you no object rather than support?
One of the concerns I have actually is the car park, the car parking that doesn't seem to be on the plans anywhere. That the cars, but there is cars parking.
There's only two. We're only allowed 2 cars.
Right, so
Well,
We
I've-
already got,
I've just looked at a Google Earth image and there's 3 on the image, so that's
would
not.
one of them be a delivery vehicle?
No, there's 3 cars parked at the side.
At the
So
side?
and you've
on the
got that
land.
funny empty ice cream van thing there as well. So your
That
lease
was a-
allows you to park, but it's not for customers, it's
No.
presumably for workers.
No, it's only for people delivering things and workmen. And if they are parked there, then they get told to move anywhere, because we know that we're only allowed 2 to park.
No. So do you yourself park there for the
It's
day?
not normally me anyway. Very rare, it's more than me.
But we also need the public, whatever it is, consultation then on the ventilation and things as well. So
There may be a reason why they've not done that, but we can ask.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
certainly
Yeah,
include that as a
If
question.
that's
For
you feel
noise.
it's sufficient to turn that into a no objection rather
Yeah,
than
yeah,
support.
yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough. Is there a seconder for that? Katie?
Yes, and just a comment though as well. I want to second I think the design looks lovely, and especially the stone, which the going around looks gorgeous. Fingers crossed. I do second that we speak up about the water point, and also from the sense of the climate and biodiversity, the Cornwall Climate Biodiversity Planning document expectations. Because we do want to know that water is going to suitable places, that sewage, and that we're not seeing any runoff into a beach that's incredibly important. And also with that cliff being so sensitive with any runoff, given that, with the doubling of a very small size, but nevertheless a doubling of the size and the adding of the toilet, there will be more people and more water being used, and it's still small. I understand that, but nevertheless, just that we can make quite a strong statement that we want to know that those biodiversity protection efforts around the water management are somehow assessed by the officer, please.
Right, sorry, are you saying the surface, you want to know what's happening to the surface water?
Yes.
Surface water management. So at the moment it's going into the main sewer, but we're going to ask if that's
Sufficient
if
for the
that's-
new
yeah.
development, or
It's acceptable to South West Water. I mean, they do have a stream running into it.
If you take a finite area from above, you build over it or you don't build over it, the surface area is the same. Doesn't change.
So it gets them
the water coming in that I'm talking
No, what
about.
I mean is, if you look at something from above, whether you build over it or don't, if the surface runoff goes into that already, the surface runoff remains the same.
Okay, so there's multiple water.
As a slight aside, the proposed buildings up on the top on Whipsonbury Cliffs, they've actually going to have a pipe running down, and then there's going to be a pipe going under the road, and then it goes straight onto the river.
We have
So
actually got the main
effectively,
chamber with big.
That's exactly what they're
Huge
trying
If
to
it
do. I think
ever
it's
happens,
awful.
if it ever happens.
That's what they're going to do, and I
We'll
imagine
see.
it's the same. In fact, you
will see.
can actually push it down to the stream. But yes, it's worth finding out what exactly is going to happen with that.
Yeah, so we will ask, I mean, obviously the drainage experts are
Yeah.
South West Water, and we will ask, should they be asked about it?
Okay, so I think we've got no objections seconded. Did you second it, Katie?
I'm happy to support it.
You'd like to support it?
Obviously, councillor Thompson,
The proposal at the moment is no objections.
I'll do a second for no objection.
Second for no objection. So show of hands for no objection. And you'd rather support it, would you? Or?
I just vote against the no objection, that's what we're doing now.
Yeah. So that is 4, I think, for no objection and 1 not for no objection. My assumption is that you would go straight forward to support it.
Well, yeah, there's no reason not to. It's a caveat we put on it rather than.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway,
it's
we've
a support
voted.
thing that's not object to business occurring.
No, in fact, one of our policies is that we support this sort of initiative.
We've just gone contrary to our own language plan.
Well, I think there's not much to do between no objection and supporting. Right, so that got a vote for no objection. Now we have the next one, which is the advertisement bit.
Indeed, yes. So we are just, I'll just give you some technical details on this. There were no other kind of drawings given for this, but we had some information on this sort of combined application form. So what do we know about signage? Well, we can see where it's going to be. It's a non-illuminated acrylic sign. It has what's called low luminous edge-lit lettering around the cafe name. It will be 0.25 metres in height, 25 centimetres, and 1.6 long. It will protrude a huge 5 millimetres from the building. It will sit 2 metres above the ground. It will be made of acrylic, so it's not going to rust, and the colour of the text is black with a illumination around it. But we didn't have this is as much of a diagram as we have of it.
Sorry, can we see what it looks like at the moment? Go back to the picture. Yes, so it's going to be less obtrusive than that.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, I propose we support that. It's a less obtrusive lighting. It's saying it's softly illuminated to comply with road traffic regulations, so it doesn't shine onto the road. I think it's a vast improvement on what's there already. So support.
Is it only on the front? It's not on the side like this one?
Yes, double check.
The side's all glass.
No, so it's just on the front, so some much less obtrusive than the last one. So I will support second your support. Show of hands to support the sign. Yes, we're happy with that. I think it's less obtrusive than the last
We
one.
don't object to the building, but we
That's it.
support
Thank
the
you very
sign.
much for
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you. And good luck over the winter.
Thank you.
Okay, so if we now return to the agenda, do we have any active consultations?
Just the consultation on the. Sorry, have we got lots of microphones on here? Is that one? No. I can't turn mine on if there's loads on.
You
Right.
can't
So
turn it on at all, is it?
no, yeah. If there are too many on, you'll find that your microphone won't turn on.
No, they put it on
No,
straight.
no.
You literally just unplug it, plug it back in.
They told Joanna not to do this.
They've told me not to do it.
I
I think I have
What they're going to
complained.
do. They can't sack you as a councillor, can they?
I think it's a
There's no
retrograde.
punishment.
I agree with you, Councillor Hick. I think it's a retrograde step. We are where we are.
You can't be made
I
to-
believe there's a reason that our IT officer has said don't go wiggling them around.
Yeah, it's
He's
not-
not just doing it to flex his powerful muscles.
2 years and you think-
Anyway, we have a
But
long
anyway.
agenda, so yeah.
So, active consultations, are there any? Just the consultation on the government's new plans on planning reforms, which are being looked at initially by the Newquay Neighbourhood Working Party on the 2nd of September,
Yes.
and then reporting back to this committee.
So I will be putting out an agenda tomorrow. I've got a bit of extra information, and that will be the main topic of the meeting on Monday. So we will report back, and that still gives us time. I have been told that Cornwall Council is sending out their own their recommended responses, but we took no. I remember Councillor Hill and I took no notice at all, and we did our own last time. But
Yeah, I mean, there are changes coming. I can't have some insight into what they might be, but you know, the fact that Cornwall Council have prepared responses to things they don't know about suggests to me that they have a motivation other than what's actually being proposed.
That you can. I'm personally, my own worry is that at some stage we could find that the neighbourhood plan is no longer valid for a couple of years, and that will open the floodgates to
Our main protection is that we have lots of space available for housing, which is...
Well, hopefully. Anyway, we'll be talking about that on Monday.
Nothing to trouble ourselves. No, we have no licensing issues. No licensing applications for change.
The previous planning applications, which I think has got one of the funniest I've ever seen. And this is the previous planning application. Would you like to explain what's going on, Dan?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So no, we have no 5-day protocols or non-material amendments. Just to make that clear. So, Gwenna Tea House. So we looked at. I think that we looked at the Gwenna Tea House in July. I think I attached our comment at the time, and we did note that there were several changes being made that weren't included on the description. The description was for a proposed first floor side extension over the garage and a 2-storey rear extension and a bridge access at the rear and some internal alterations. We did notice that they were raising the ridge height and having a first floor side extension over the garage, which wasn't included. So we returned this to Cornwall Council and thought nothing more of it. And then suddenly I get the officer coming back to me saying, we've had to change the description and we are now reconsulting you again. So nothing has changed about the plans that we look, and please don't ask me to bring them all up again, because we have looked at this and we have looked at this and we have made a decision, but we are being reconsulted. No, you weren't.
Very pleased that our committee did exactly their proper job, which is look at the plans in detail. So effectively, your comments were based on the plans, and by the way, the description is wrong. So it's now come back to the description's changed.
I mean, my own suggestion is that we return exactly the same, because we are being reconsulted with a brand new
description. So what's changed in the description?
So the proposed alterations to existing dwelling, including raising the ridge height, first floor side extension over the garage, 2-storey rear extension with a bridge access, internal alterations to the building and associated works.
Right, I propose that we support it. What did you say last time?
No objection last time.
No objection.
It's going... It's entirely, if you look down in front of the public toilets, that's where it is. And it changes a green space into a built space.
But I assume that in my absence, that's exactly what the committee looked at. And they've decided to go no objection. So we're not looking at it again.
No, well, I mean, so when we talk about the rear, it's the physical rear of the building, but it's not the rear from the public realm.
No, the rear is the...
Yeah, but I'm not sure...
up the road, not...
So where's the bridge go to then?
The issue is that you have, this committee has already discussed this application. It has come to a conclusion. And by the way, we said, you haven't got your description right. So they now have the description right. I see absolutely no reason for opening it up again. You've already had this debate.
I disagree with that. I'd like my disagreement to be noted, because the description in our original consultation does not match how you view the building from the public realm.
But the committee noted that the description was wrong, and they
No,
Made their, sorry Duncan, sorry Stephen, let me finish. They noted that the description was wrong and they made their conclusion
What I'm saying
based on the
is,
plans.
I think that is in error because the description is wrong, but how we talk about the front and the rear of the building, how the building is viewed from the public railway up the coast path towards Lusty Valleys, it's not the rear of the building, it's fully visible. It's not hidden, it says here, hidden by the building.
So we still don't, you still don't,
straight past it.
see what you're basically saying is the description is still wrong.
No, not the description, no, our response in light of, so we're modest and therefore acceptable. The remaining works for the proposal are mostly but it's the bit you walk past when you go up the coast path.
Well, yes, I'm sure,
So it's not
I'm
hidden.
sure the committee took that on board. But there is no change to the plans, it's already been considered, we're not taking a second bite at the cherry. So I take it you don't like that, but that is my ruling. So what are we supposed to do?
It's an open for debate, it's not a ruling.
I'm proposing that we just repeat the previous comment. Is there, without the problem, is there a seconder for that? Yeah, so Margaret and Sarah, show of hands for that proposal. And we will call Councillor Hick. Yeah, a name vote. Councillor Hick would have liked us to discuss it again, but. Right.
I'm refraining because I wasn't clear what our options were. So.
Well, the option is either you want to totally reopen it again and start doing exactly the same.
And you're saying you didn't want to review
Joanna,
it?
the proposal is that we return the same comment that we did last time.
Yeah, I'm hesitating because I don't recall us looking at it up the hill. I think what you're saying is that it'd be a little bit bigger there. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, so
But I don't know that that's...
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I've made a proposal. It has been seconded. Can we
we
have
can
a show of
vote on
hands?
so when they talk about the rear, it's that way, but actually when you look at it from the public coast path, it's that
Can
way.
we have a show of hands, please, on whether that proposal, my proposal is supported? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there, and there's at least one, are you against it, Katie? You're against it. You're one abstention, one against, and you're fair and anti, the name vote.
Right. Swiftly moving on.
Okay, are there any other previous planning applications?
Thankfully, no.
Right. When are we now on to consider planning applications? We are.
We're doing this first.
And I'm doing the first 2, in fact. So if you just talk amongst yourselves while I open my folder. So the first one is the California. Have I got it right? The first one is the California Hotel. Right. Which is not nearly as complicated as is indicated. Come on.
Can I just say, welcome to the Hotel California.
This is actually this is the 3rd time at least that we are looking at the Hotel California, because they did the big planning of this is before it burnt down. Yes, they came in, and what they have done is every time they do an amendment, they keep the description. I can actually use this. They keep the same description without actually. But if you go into the application form, what they want to do is to make it a bit. Turn on the side. Right.
And press the red that button there.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. So just in case you have forgotten. And interestingly, they didn't provide a site location plan. It is on the River Gallal, somewhere there, opposite Fistral, and then there's a blow-up of it. So that is coming straight out of the system design document. Next one, please. Right, this is the first of the original application's visualisation of what it was going to be like. And what they want to do now is they want to add a very small extension to the top floor. If you could make it a bit big, can you make this one a bit bigger? Yeah, so they want to put a small extension there. If you look at the next one. Sorry, that's all approved.
Is that what you're saying?
This is approved. This is already approved. I doubt very much from this view. You're actually going to go to the left, right, the other way. You've cut it out right. It's sort of back a bit, and it's a small extension there. And that's what they're doing. So I think the next one I've got is the floor plans, because it shows you what they're planning to do. Yeah. So this is a comparison of the two sets of floor plans. So that's what the floor plan is at the moment. And it's a rather funny floor plan. Come on. Oh, there we go. So you come in here and you go into that flat through there and that flat there. And this is the bigger of the two. This was the bigger of the two flats. And you come in and you have a bedroom there, and a bedroom there, and then 2 bedrooms there. And the other one has, I think, only 3 bedrooms. So that's what has been approved. What they're now going to do, if you can scroll down to the, spot the difference. The difference is this bit here. So now they're making this one bigger. So instead of, you're still going into the left and the right, you've only got 1 bedroom there as opposed to 2, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 bedrooms up there. So that is a 4-bedroom flat. And then they've taken the bedroom that was in 19, has now gone into 20. So it's there, 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 there. So they're 2-bedroom flats. And then you've got a very large, quite a large sort of lounge and garden. I assume the kitchen is there. I assume that there is the kitchen, because otherwise they're not, unless they're thinking these people are not going to cook. But I'm assuming the kitchen is.
Maybe they're on a diet.
Or maybe they're so rich they just need to call it, they just bring the food in. So that is fundamentally what they're doing. Now the next thing I think is they've produced this rather useful diagram of the changes on the plans. It's a booklet, it's a word booklet. There we go, if you could scroll down. Right, if you look closely, you can see the little nobule on there.
It's tiny, isn't it?
It's very small. If you keep going down, if you scroll right down, it gets bigger. Oh no, that's it. So we go up again. Right, can you make that bigger? What they have done is they have, so from this side, oh come on. I thought it looked so easy when people did this, right. So from there, it's that bit there, it's the bit extra. And then from the side, from this side, I got the right one. There's absolutely no change on the east side whatsoever. It's just exactly the same. This is the west side, so it's, you can't really tell, but so it's there. And then if we look at the north and the east, which is up, right, there is no change whatsoever on the east side. And from the front, it's sort of, it's just sort of got that bit there extra. So my recommendation would be no objection on the basis that you keep on doing amendments. Steve?
Yeah, I was going to say no objection. I mean, the thing's a monstrous carbuncle anyway, and it's, you can't have a wart to a wart, so we might as well just accept it.
Yeah, I think it's a very minor change from what it was before.
One additional bedroom, is that correct?
It's one additional bedroom in the flat 19, and then they've reorganised the bedrooms so that one of the bedrooms that was in flat 19 is now in flat 20. So they are very, very luxurious. They are quite large.
To ask for
measurements there. I think it's what are the? Can you read the measurements? It's a bit far from me.
I'd love to ask for more bicycle parking or something, but given how many, just looking at how many flats are there and how many people will be there, but I doubt we'd.
Well, we know when we start discussing the Hotel Bristol, there's like clearly a housing crisis for luxury flats on with fantastic views. I mean, it's clearly a huge issue for Cornwall Council.
We'll get our ranch then.
So I'm going to. Are you going to make a? You'll make a.
Second.
So I propose that we say no objection, minimal change. No. You're seconding. Show of hands for no objection. Right. The next one is also mine.
It says it's got Joanna on there.
I know it's very. It's famous last.
Yeah, it's got Sarah as well, Dad.
Okay.
So this one is in Pentar Road. If you could turn to the pictures of the one in Pentar Road. What makes this one very simple is it's a mirror image of something we've already approved. So, first one coming up. This is, oops, that was, can we go back to that one? this is where it is. It is right opposite our car park. Have I got the right one? Number 5.
Oh.
And what they're proposing to do is have a drive here and then build here. And the thing is that we have already got planning permission at number 4 to do exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And they're in line with these buildings here. And that's what I think something that's worth saying. That's where it is. That's what they're proposing to do. Where they've already got the precedent has already been set. Next one, please. No, that's the Hotel California. Right, this is it from the front. Interestingly, this one here, which you can't quite see it, but I would have thought logically they're sort of demolishing the garage and going down there. You'd think they would have demolished that garage and go down that side, but actually they've gone down the other side. Next one.
Well, they came in and asked, because they originally were there, and then they redesigned and put it the other side.
Oh, did they? I've forgotten that.
But I mean, they've had planning for a little while, they haven't started or anything.
No. So that's what they're demolishing. They're talking about parking, enough parking for the 2 houses in the, well, for the front house will be there. And as you can see, they've got a tiny bit of green, but basically, I don't think anyone's living there at the moment. Is that right, Margaret?
I'm not sure. There was
I went and knocked on their door before I took the photograph.
So I think she now got to the care home. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the owner is gone because there's a huge pile of mail in the porch. So I took
stalking around the house.
Yeah, I always stalk around the houses, but I do go and knock on their door and say, this funny lady
Have
is...
you ever seen Commando Joanna going over the back walls?
Well, occasionally I get people saying, why are you taking a picture of my house? And I'm saying, no, I'm taking a picture of the next door house. Right, so, but basically they're talking about using that as a parking space. We're not losing a lawn, there's a little bit of green there, but it's already been used. Next one, please. Right, this is one of these hand-drawn plans. It's coming in the front. What they're losing, which is a little shame, there's a sort of rather nice Cornish stone wall, and then there's a gate, and then there's a small bit of Cornish wall, and that's going to go. They're coming down here. They are doing a garage here, and the question I would ask is that a double garage? Because if they haven't got a double garage, they haven't got enough room to park. They're keeping the existing tree. This is the house. This is where they think the sewer is. They're not sure.
Dwelling at the back there.
That's the dwelling.
That's the one they want to build.
That's what they want to build.
This is only outline in principle. So
Oh
there's
yeah,
no detail in it.
what they're asking for is just, is it possible for us to build a house in our back garden with a garage? And the answer is, since they've done it next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mike was just, I'm surprised it's not just in, I mean, if they put it up, it'd probably be permitted anyway, to be honest. Losing a tiny bit of lawn and what is a fake Cornish stone, so not a true hedge, it's, and we're opposite the golf course and stuff, so from above, the loss of greenery is minuscule.
Can we see the next one? The next one is actually the approved plans next door, which is a lot smarter. And what you can see from this is that the house is much bigger. The actual site is much wider. If you look at it, it's much wider. But what is interesting is the line. They have an extra line on the bottom there that says the line is in line with the building line set by 8 and 9, and ours, although it's intended to do that, has not said that. So it's worth saying we don't want it to come over the building line of 8 and 9. It's that line there. It's basically the building line, and we don't want, because otherwise they're going to get too near to the people behind them. But,
Is the new proposed or is the next door? Okay.
this is the number 4. This is next door, and it's absolutely, this is the one where we're talking about, but this is the planning application for this one, and this is how they've done it. That is definitely a double garage. and then there's the house. And yes, I don't know whether they haven't started it yet.
Well, that's two images next to each other, not
Yes.
yeah.
That's what it looked like when they came in. I just thought it was a useful diagram to show what they were doing. They also produced a nice booklet, which is the next thing, of the various views of their gardens, which is quite
That's
useful.
number 4, it's already been done.
Yes.
So it's a neighbour, it's already set a precedent.
Yep. So this is again, this is their booklet. So there's the front of the house. If we start scrolling down, that's the back, from the back. Keep going. They've got various views of what it looks like on the side. Well, sooner or later we're going to find the tree that they want to keep. Right, there is the tree. So that tree is going to be between the garage and the new house. They want to keep it.
So, sorry, is the new house going to be separate to the current dwelling then?
Yes.
Because you won't get a mortgage with a tree that close.
Well, that's their problem.
Yeah, but what I mean is so from financially sustainable point of view, you're creating a dwelling. I mean, it's very unlikely that when mortgagees look at things that have got a tree right slap bang next to them are hard because they just.
Well, that's what the plan said.
Yeah. I mean,
say the tree's staying.
I'm kind of minded if it's in principle. I don't know if we can say yes. We would like to see this, so respecting the building line, respecting, referencing the plans that have already made, which they've done themselves anyway, kind of. Yeah. But I just make the general observation that infill building is okay, but instead of, I think we're going to regret in time massively urbanising the towns we have rather than building outwards slightly. I think that's going to be a massive regret because these places were built with big gardens for a reason, and you're going to have two families using us. So when these eventually churn through ownership, and you have two young families in each, and they have a quarter of the garden that they would have had with the larger property, I think we're going to regret that. But I see no reason to object or refuse or anything.
I mean, it's what we used to call garden grabbing. We're really against Margaret.
So, the history of the road, Pentar Road, those plots were assigned in 1949 for small family hotels. And at that time, lots of business people in this town bought the plots and built huge houses. The only one that was a hotel bought a plot and a half, and that was the Bewdley, which is now 9 apartments. So they were originally to be small family hotels, and I kid you not, the plots are massive. I live in one of them, and having a second dwelling will not dwarf the garden. But the only question,
I'm not going to change my opinion.
the only
I'm
question,
well aware of the history.
the only question I would like to ask is the garage width? Would you get an emergency vehicle down there?
Right, can we go back to the site plan? And that's diagram after the first one after the photographs. Right, so that isn't particularly clear. It's almost clearer looking at the one for next door, but the one for next door, I mean, as you see, they're keeping that tree, which is that round thing, and that's the tree, that's the garage. If we look at the next one, that might actually give you a clearer idea.
One other observation, if that's right, is that, I mean, infill is infill, but we're now demanding of roads that were serving one property to serve 2, 3, 4 properties, and it's not the same as having a visitor economy property on the plot. When people arrive, they stay there and they don't, it's in and out and in and out. So is that Pentar Road, the main road? It is Pentar Road. It's just going to get busier and busier and busier, and each of these used to be a driveway for one property is now going to be a driveway for 2 properties, maybe 4 families. This
one, to answer Margaret's question, this one thinks that is a double garage, and that is a big enough turning point. And they have got planning permission for that. When you look at the diagram in full, you'll see that in fact it is a narrower plot than the plot for number 5. So if they reckon that's okay for number 4, then it must be okay for number 5 because
It's just the width, where they're taking the garage out, that's what I'm asking.
What?
To make the access to the second property at the back.
Can you blow it up to
Yeah,
give the
side,
dimensions?
yeah, side.
That's what I'm asking.
So,
It's got the dimensions there for Duncan at the top of the house. Can you blow it up so you can just see how wide it is?
this one here.
Yeah.
So that's both of those are over 4 metres.
So that's, yeah, that's. yeah,
Could I
that's
just interject before we get too tangled up in this? This is an application for permission in principle.
Yeah.
It would then be followed up by the technical details.
Yeah, yeah.
We can certainly return comments
Yeah.
such as emergency service access must be possible.
Yeah.
I don't think that the thing about the trees, I'm afraid that's not.
No,
that's
it's
not
just
the-
observation, it's just,
Yeah, no, fair enough, it's not.
when somebody comes to buy it,
We
later,
can,
they won't be able
you
to
know,
buy
we
it.
can say about, you know,
So this is the one next
parking
door.
needs to meet
Yeah.
next
This
door
is-
and
this
stuff
is-
like that. But all of
Yeah.
that will come with the second application once they've said yes.
And I
If
think
they say
this one
yes.
hasn't got the detail yet, it's still only an outline.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But in principle, they have accepted that all of these big plots, and I agree with you, Margaret, they are big plots, are suitable for
And I
2
presume-
houses.
I presume there'd be a comment on, but that there's tiering on this, that the new property, because it's going down the hill, won't block the view from the property that it's being built in the garden of, so it can't be too high.
I think that's when we get to the detail. But as you can see, the big one is the Vista, which is number 10, which is that one there. This thing has a life of its own, doesn't it?
I have one other comment, if I may, given that they are asking for a heads up towards designing something that we would approve. I didn't quite catch the detail of it, but I heard the comment that the Cornish wall at the front, they're
Can
proposing
we show the photograph?
to destroy part of it, and
That one.
I would
And
be-
then the next one.
may I speak, please? Thank you.
Can you just do the next?
Just a wall, it's not Cornish head.
May I speak, please? Thank you. I will be,
All the way through like that, it's an understatement.
okay.
Go for it, Katie.
I will be consistent in speaking up to protect as much of these as we can, be they Cornish or similar, given that they're sort of the little of character we have around Newquay remaining. So as a comment to them, given that they're asking for our thoughts, to any extent that they can try to reduce destruction of that wall, they would be more likely at least to get my support at least. Otherwise, we'd have to see what
You
could
could almost
Thank
not
you.
do that, but sort of have a joint entrance going in.
I actually think they could, as I agree with you,
I mean, when you
that
zoom
it,
in, it's a concrete wall with a hollow infill, it's not concrete.
Yeah, but whatever. So it's a nice
Was.
looking wall.
Can I also point out that they need, because the plan that they gave was the drive going straight down there at the moment, isn't it,
Yeah.
from the garage? So where are they going to put their rubbish and recycling bins?
That you wouldn't have at this time.
No, but they need to have consideration of that maybe it does need to come through that entrance, because then they can tuck them in round the corner. Otherwise, they haven't left room to have them on their, what would be their
No.
property.
Again,
And
it's,
South West Water.
you would not expect that at this stage. All they're saying is, can we build a house in our back garden?
Yeah, but the more comments we can throw
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
at them.
Then they can hopefully remedy that. And South West Water put in a comment as well that they haven't put anything about where a
Runoff,
soakaway might be.
So my proposal is a no objection to this one because it's an outline. So Margaret?
Just to say also about, I know you're saying put as much as you can. If they take that wall out, they need a dropped curb there.
Yeah.
And they need that before they start
When
the
we made a
development.
comment about next door, that's exactly what we said.
Yeah.
They wanted a drop curb.
Yeah.
They wanted a drop curb
Yeah.
before we did anything else.
See how
They have indicated a new crossover on that plan actually, Margaret. You might not be able to see it because it's only tiny writing, but
But when we commented on, I think we went no objection last time, and we commented on exactly that. So
I'll
it's
just borrow that a minute.
yeah. It's,
I mean, the other thing is, I don't know how they're going to deal with that boundary here, if they're going to put a boundary, a fence sort of thing along here, which to divide the two properties off, so you'd expect to see that and how the boundaries are going to be dealt with.
Yep, it says new boundary wall.
Yeah.
That's what it says there, new
So,
boundary wall. Again, technical details.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
I'll have to second no objection.
show of hands with no objection on this one, and we'll wait to see if it comes back. I don't think number 4 has come back, has
What's
it?
that, Kate?
I thought they were just asking. Comments, we're not approving anything.
Yes, we are. No,
Yeah.
so, what
planning
they
in
want us to,
principle.
in principle, they want us to approve whether we think, we could turn around and say, no, we don't think you can build a house in that back garden.
Okay, so the question.
This type of application, you know, sometimes we get the outline application and then we get the reserved matters. This is a similar type. You get a permission in principle and then it's followed up with the technical details. So this is just the permission in principle.
Based on the
bit.
comments made,
Yeah.
sure.
Everything is indicative at the moment, though they could come back with something completely different.
Yeah. Number 4, we're going, we're flying. Except I can't get my, come on. So whatever number 5 is, who's doing that one?
Lucky old me.
There you go. PA 2406062, infill extension to 6 Esplanade Road. Oh, this is an interesting one.
This one actually, which was useful. So yeah, so the overhead view shows we are almost opposite Esplanade Green. We're looking at this sort of kind of slightly sort of lopsided H-shape building here.
Which is semi-detached, isn't it?
Which is a semi-detached, yeah. There are 2 properties there. And I think I've got a map that will show you, yes, here we go, that once upon a time this was a very symmetrical H-shaped building.
That long ago that it was done. I think we looked at it only in the last few years.
2020 was permission given for the extension and alterations to the neighbour at number 5. So the one on the right hand side as we're looking at it, and now we're looking at really something very similar at the number 6. You'll see exactly what I mean by one's had the work done and one hasn't. So we are looking at the yellow property, and it is having something similar done to this. A key difference that we'll see when we look at the elevations though is that they want to stick a balcony on the front at first floor level of number 6. I'm not. No, they've got that small thing there. The officer was less. He quite liked most of this application. He was less convinced by the balcony, but we'll see what you guys think of it. So, so we have our basically kind of sort of it's infill. We have no existing block plan, but we've just seen that H shape on the Cornwall Council map. But I think that we can gauge, I'll just zoom in a bit, we can gauge that we are basically filling in to create a square. Yes, this is the proposal. So we're filling, kind of filling in at the front and the back, so that we're going from, where are we? If effectively you're filling in these bits here. This, for some reason, Cornwall Council haven't updated their map because these bits are filled in on for number 5. They're effectively filling these gaps in for number 6. Have a look at some elevations. No. Yeah, so that's the existing. Just to very quickly look at the existing half the property, so you can see obviously there's a significant change in the scale of mass, which will then match the neighbour. So look at the north elevation. I think we'll zoom in a bit on this actually. So that's the that's your street facing. Effectively, it's infill at the front of the properties. In many ways matching the neighbour. The east elevation, so one of the sides, you can see on the right hand side of that drawing this balcony that's extending out. It also allows us actually to see I'll just zoom in there, that's the existing east elevation, that's the proposed, so you can see the increase in ridge height there as well, overall ridge height.
But it's keeping the same ridge height, isn't it?
Yes, it's going to match what's there with the neighbouring property. So the ridge height is increasing, but it's going to match that of the neighbouring property. So again, side elevation showing you this front terrace, which I believe the officer wasn't so concerned about, but this balcony with its upright stanchions supporting it, he wasn't so keen on that. Part of that was because let's just go back to that original one. Part of that was perhaps a concern at looking back into the neighbouring property.
Or both of them, 6, 5 and 7.
Let me just try that again. Sorry, the internet's just going very slowly there. Yes. So kind of creating the sort of rear-facing views, and I think as well perhaps the symmetry of it. Yeah, if you see, if there's a balcony here protruding out, it would perhaps afford a view at least into this window here that's very nearby.
So they will be bringing it slightly forward, won't they, to match the other one?
They will, yes, and it will match.
What that's not showing very clearly is that the one on the left-hand side has got a whole bank of solar panels on that sloping roof, and I'm just wondering if they do this, whether that was going to interrupt the light to the solar panels. I think it will.
Are they solar panels or are they Philips windows?
They are. Whatever this.
These are roof lights.
Currently what it is solar panels. I went past it today when I went for my swim. I took a look. So that might be a concern.
Sunlight anyway, so ambient sunlight is generally enough to produce electricity. My concern would be the potential for overlooking encroachment onto the village green. And that's, because Esplanade is a village green, isn't it? And it literally looks straight onto, so you are the encroachment protection for village greens is physical, but actually protecting the concept of village green, that people can congregate and use that area freely without being interfered with or interfering with other people. I think anything larger than a Juliet balcony, I think, is probably problematic from that. I would normally say looking out over the sea, absolutely no problem, but this is an area where people go to make a little bit of noise maybe and just congregate and park their surfboards, and not the van lifers, but it's a village green. You're in danger of taking some of the aspect of the village green away.
And I do think it will be overlooking the 2 adjacent gardens. So I agree with you. I think they shouldn't have. The other 2 have got balconies, I think, but they aren't protuberant.
Posing more than a Juliet though, anyway.
They want to come out and have a proper balcony.
Yeah, with
let me
our
show you
pillars.
again. Let me show you again, Katie. If we look at the
Level though.
No, but the first
Oh, that.
first floor.
But that looks very similar to the one next door.
No, they're Juliet.
Can you look at the picture again?
And as a frequent, almost every second day user of that green, doesn't bother me in the least. I mean, everybody's looking at you anyway when you're on that green. You're totally open to the public. Of houses looking down on you. Looking out the window from the second floor there all the time. I see them there. Mind go.
immediate thing with the balcony. If you stood on a balcony here, it would afford you views because it's sticking out further. It would afford you
And into
views
the roof lights as
into
well.
that big window there. Yeah.
Yeah, or over there now.
I do think there is a problem, there might be a problem with those solar panels. The other problem is I actually know the people in our number 7, and I was talking to them today, and they didn't know what I was talking about because there has been absolutely no notification. In fact, they said, we're going to make a complaint. There is no sign of planning permission, and they have not received a letter saying that this is happening.
So they aren't, I found out, and I was surprised at this, they are not sending out letters for householder applications. There will be and I don't think that there needs to be a site notice either for a householder.
Well, there isn't, and I think it's quite a significant change which could affect the house on either side.
Notice at number 5, Necktie Road, I went down, saw it,
Yeah.
and I came back up, and the following day, somebody removed it.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't
would,
think this requires even the yellow notice.
well, I
I'll
think
write
it's-
to people now, I don't.
I think this is a bad move, and I would like to record on my displeasure. I've had a complaint that people on either side had absolutely no idea that this is happening, and that is not adequate.
It's writing a letter to Cornwall Council as a committee, but after
They're
this.
saving money, but I don't think this is the way they should save
The
money.
idea is that a householder would talk to their neighbours, but that doesn't happen.
No, I think that's ridiculous. They basically, this is a significant change that is, I think, affecting because of the solar panels, and there is no indication, he has no idea this is happening. And that is, I'm sorry, I just think that's wrong.
I can, rather than us write something to owners, I can drop an email to perhaps Mark Evans and just say, would you be able to, in simple terms, tell us why this change happened?
I would like this
Yeah.
associated with our comments, please.
Yeah,
because
and
I think
and I'll certainly
I think
include
it's-
it in here.
Because I think there could be a negative effect on the house next door because of the solar panels. And it does make a difference between whether you have actually sunshine shining onto them and just have a wall. But otherwise, I think, and I agree with you about the balcony. I think I wouldn't approve the. So, are we talking about objecting because of the balcony? I think we might be.
I think
I think we might be talking about objecting.
So I'd propose objection on the basis of the balcony, and although it's not the letter of the law with the 2 acts that protect village greens from encroachment, I think it is a de facto, if not a de jure, encroachment onto the village green that somebody is. I mean, ground level's different. You're at the same level as everybody. If you're up on a balcony, you know, doing whatever you would do on a balcony, because if you had a balcony, you would do. I think it's encroaching and overpowering the village green, and once it's set, we then set a precedent for the entire road, and everybody could have balconies, and the village green just loses its status.
another useful thing of including that as a comment is that we'll get an office, one way or another, we'll get the officer view on that particular point.
Yeah.
I thought we'd already approved balconies for that big new one going in about 4 doors down, where we had the wall last week, the retaining wall.
Not looking directly into their neighbour next door.
They've got.
So the neighbour next
But councillor Hicks's point is looking over the green, and I think we've already approved balconies looking over the green.
Find the officer's view on it by including that comment. It would be a useful thing for us to learn.
I personally sort of would rather make a comment myself that I like the idea of people having balconies. It creates community, so I'll abstain then.
Can I just ask one question? I know we're objecting. What about the parking? Because they've gone from 3 to a 5-bedroomed.
They have 2 parking spaces at the rear of the property. That's all they need.
I couldn't see it, so I just thought I should
sorry, we
ask.
haven't quite got there yet, but I don't think we need to be honest.
We just have a 5-minute break before we start the next one.
Right, could you come back at 5 to...
Is that okay?
It says Sarah, it says.
Application 7, PA 24/06248, 37 Praise Road. Alterations to dwelling to include rear balcony. So, if we can have a look at the location plan. This, oh, where's the zapper gone? Can I have a bit lost with that myself? You've broken it. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Joanna.
You've run out of battery.
Hang on.
Oh, no, it's on the roof.
There we go. There we go. So we're down. So the coast is just over here with Porth Inlet. If we're worried, concerned where we are with Praise Road. If we do Google Maps, I just threw this in just to make sure we know where we are. We're down here. Yeah, we're looking at this house here, that one. Okay. Street view, I'll just put this in as well because what we see, you don't see anything from the road. It's purely going to be an extension at the back. So I just put this in. There we go. This is it. But what they're talking about is putting a balcony in their back garden. So it's not going to change anything from the street view at all. If we have a look at the proposed block plan, then it's this little bit here is what's going to be new, and it is purely like a covered over, going to be like balcony for upstairs. So it will give them a view of a bit of coast, I suspect, if they hang on the balcony and peer around the corner. So the existing floor plan. Yeah, can we blow that up a bit, please? She says, squinting at it. This is the road on this side. This is the lounge, isn't it? Lounge, kitchen, diner. And then upstairs we've got a bedroom, bathroom, and another bedroom here. And if we look at then the proposed floor plan, you'll see this is going to be the balcony up. Oh. So the bedrooms, I think this is an inverse house. So that's right, isn't it, Duncan? The bedroom.
This is the one that you said the plans were marked wrongly. Oh no, sorry.
Is it? No,
I'm sorry, I shut my mouth.
No, it's okay. So it's just basically a covered area downstairs. This.
It's on the ground floor, is it?
Yeah, the bedrooms I think are on the ground floor, and then the balcony then would be upstairs. Oh. That they're then putting this on, so putting in windows. A big door, a door, sliding door, sort of like here.
So the concern would be whether they're overlooking their neighbours' gardens.
Yeah, but they won't be when you see it in a minute. Existing. Can we look at this existing east?
Stop
Yeah.
For a moment?
Yeah.
Can we do an extension? We always say till 9
Oh
o'clock.
yes, extension. Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah.
Show of hands for extension. Thank you.
Yeah. This is the existing east-south. So this is the back garden, basically, and the side of the house. And then if we look at the proposed east-south, so there's your covered area over here with your balcony, and you see that they've put a wall here, so they won't be interfering with the neighbour's view. This side. And that it's like a wooden clad extension, over them. Yeah, there's yeah. So it's solid walls at the side, and just then with this little balcony coming out here, so they can see the sea, I presume. It's quite a distance from the garden. The house on this side is quite a way away, and it's quite a way from the neighbour to the north as well.
Oddly, Praise Rose is actually quite high.
Yeah.
And it overlooks.
Yeah,
Forth.
yeah, yeah.
And it's higher
Yeah.
than.
So you get cut down into Port Fair, isn't it?
Yeah.
Walk through.
The proposed northwest elevation, so it will show then that there's it's a glass end on here. No, that's it, that one. See, that's got a glass. No, that's the wall at the back with the wooden cladding, and then it's got this glass end to the balcony, so somebody could stand here and then effectively look up the coastline. And it's got timber cladding then underneath it then.
Are we right down, are these ones right down the end of Praise Road?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the back balcony it's not going to look anywhere.
No, it's not, no.
It's not going to look down to the coast, really.
So, yeah, I mean, that's it really.
That direction, isn't it? That
Yeah, it's going to be this little box
direction.
here. So those are apartments at the back of the hotel here, but it's down the hill, and they look over it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
quite high. That's what.
Yeah, so it's going to be sticking out here, and then they'll just get a glimpse of the sea of Porth going up the coast there. Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. I propose support on it. I haven't got any issues with it at all.
Is it worth just saying no, subject to no overlooking?
Okay,
adjacent
subject, yeah.
properties, just to make them look at it. I'll
Yeah.
second that.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody want to say anything on that? Right, we're proposing support, show of hands to support. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't go into something more radical, really.
It's not- Right, so are we now on to
This is really interesting. Okay, so street view. Right, overhead. So we're going to zoom in here. The button, the red pointer, is right on top of the property. So we're looking at the junction between Porthbean and Lawarne Road. And this is the property in question. This is 13 Beach View.
with a block of flats, isn't it?
Associated, as in it's right next door to it, but there is, there's a full boundary treatment. This is really interesting, this one. No idea about the planning history for this, and I again spoke to the officer and he could find no actual planning history. Overhead shows, that's quite a generous plot, as you could say. It's that full sort of right-angled triangle. The street view is where it gets exciting. Oh yes. So this is the property, this little thing here. At the moment we can't see much of it, but if we travel through time, hey. So this is what we're looking at here. As time has gone on, walls have got higher, fences have gone up, and it's become less visible. But that is what we are looking at. I've forgotten what the officer said. He reckons it could date from sort of like kind of late 1940s, early 1950s.
Entrances, do they have a
That
type?
is the entrance. You're looking at it.
Was it there before the flats?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the entire area, it was built in the early 1950s, wasn't it? Because we've got Coronation Way and everything. So
Yeah.
it's the original.
So let me show you the location plan and the existing block, so you can appreciate the. Oh, wrong one. Let's. We're number 8 now, aren't we? Yeah. So here's your red line site. Just to reiterate what I was saying, you've got this sort of kind of quite generous red line site. The DNA statement says the proposed works seek to modernise and enhance the current outdated single-storey dwelling which presently lacks sufficient space and architectural character. The applicants aim to create their long-term residence, capitalising on the property's spacious site and exceptional views overlooking Porth Island.
So they are totally separate from the council flats?
They are. They are. So let's have a look at the proposed block plan.
It was like originally like a site office or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? Its history is lost.
Actually a separator.
So as you can see, I think from the, if you've got your location plan there, this very small box with the number 13 in it, you look here, as you can see, they are you've got your little box there, they are adding a significant footprint to this. Generous plot, there's, you know, size-wise, there's no reason why not. So, trapezoid. Yeah, sort of. Right, we're going to just bring these up to 75%. So there you, so here you go. So you've got this sort of pedestrian entrance in and down this path. I think it's the same one that's shared with the flats. So the proposal. First keen thing to know is proposed new driveway including drop curb. So you are taking out. Have you got a view on this wall, Stephen, as to original, or have you got a view on this wall?
So the wall is.
Looks like an old one to me.
All right, I won't ask a question. I've been directly asked.
We actually try and protect Porthby Road, and we failed miserably with the one further down.
Yeah, and this looks like
Where is this exit going to come out?
pretty much here.
Oh, so
I'll
that's
have
not
a.
too bad. No, it's not.
I thought it'd be further down. No, it's further down than that, Duncan.
Is it?
Yeah, it's down either sides.
Is it that far down?
Yeah, it is.
Let's have another look quickly.
If you.
Sorry.
That's where the sides are.
No, it isn't. It isn't. That's where the signs are here. So it's not that far down.
Because that's not the bit we were trying to protect.
It's pretty much here. It's pretty much there. So they want to build a obviously a crossover and an entrance through that way. The DNA statement has got some useful pics. Let's just have a look. I can't remember. Oh yeah, just some pictures of the property as is. As you can see, it's quite a.
It's very utilitarian, isn't it? It's very kind of.
It is. It's very much a box. I don't think we need to look too much at the existing elevations. We'll have a look at the proposed though. So the east, let's zoom in a little bit. So the east elevation, that's the front, that's facing back to Porthbean Road. That's where we were just looking at from here, okay? That shows, yeah. So you've got, on the left of that drawing, you've got the existing single-storey structure and then the new two-storey structure, this trapezoid structure on the side of that. The west, scroll down for the west, that's what's facing the sea. Right, I think that they are trying to prevent overlooking with this vertical timber screening that's going up as well, overlooking at the neighbouring property. The north doesn't really tell us much, it's just a side view. The south, that's facing the adjoining flats. I'll go with the.
Because it's sort of two levels, isn't it?
Yes,
Is
you've got the existing is the single-storey structure, and the
So it's the
new bit is
single-storey
the.
structure is basically a redo of the existing structure, is it?
It is that structure. They aren't demolishing anything, or they say they aren't. It's down as a householder application. In terms of floor plans, we'll just have a very quick look at the proposed. Proposed ground floor, that's the single-storey section on the left of the picture, with internal alterations. That now gets a couple of bedrooms, some storage and a family bathroom.
So I think Steve's got a question.
I really don't believe it would be bigger, but it's going to come somewhat, it's going to probably up to about Eve's height.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Slightly devil's advocate and say that I don't think that the relationship to this building is the big thing. I think it's the fact that you're going to have a two-storey structure here, and that's Porth Island that you will no longer be looking
I
at.
don't think you can see it anyway. I honestly, I think if you look at the aspect.
Yeah, what's happening? Is that a large sort of balcony outside over the sort of ground floor? Because they've got a door going out onto it and a sort of parapet all the way around?
That's the flats, isn't it? That's what the flats have.
They're the flats.
No, no.
That's their entrance to the upstairs.
Yeah, so the second lot of flats are in, yeah.
Yeah, it's when they used to build old people's flats with steps in them.
Yeah,
That's the Hampshire people used to be.
No, it wasn't there. It's on the new building.
Are they doing the same thing on the new building?
Right, let's have a look. Go back to these. Go back to these post elevations.
It looks as
There is no balconies here. As I say, they're making use of or they're going to. Oh dear, where's that gone? They're going to view the sea via this west elevation and these large windows that they've got here. And they'll be looking out in the direction of Porth
It's
Island.
obviously quite a
It does have 3 bedrooms. There is 1 parking space. It is questionable whether they could create space for 2, because it is quite a large plot, but they are only looking to create 1 parking space.
Do they have access to the parking bay to the left of because the flats use that parking bay? It depends if they have access to that parking bay.
But I don't believe that they do. No, it just says it says at the moment there's no parking and that they're creating 1 parking space.
So they've got no.
So that includes parking.
Have highways been consulted?
We haven't made any comments.
I'll have a look.
I mean, it's a junction, but even at the height of summer, it's not busy. I mean, my concern would be more for pedestrians because it's quite a good. It's a
I did actually have a conversation with the officer where we were saying, isn't it good that the camera is much lower on the Google car than it used to be in 2009? It was much higher. So you can, yes, and you will lose that view. And I mean, I don't know, further up the road, I would have thought that you would be able to see the island. Yeah, you can.
But again, that for me, that of the sea.
On.
It's square and flat, and there's no other two-storey flat with buildings in the area.
Is that how it's all covered?
Yes.
I would say so.
I would second that.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. There is no other flat roof, two-storey. They're right next door to something with a pitch. Both sides have got pitch roofs. It does sort of alter the street scene, doesn't it?
Can I just say, on page 4 of the design and access statement, figure 6 is a view on top of the roof. Now, bearing in mind that the building's going to be behind that one. So if you bear in mind that the building's going to be where... Oh, you're not working, are you? No. It's where we're sort of like where the camera person is standing. I've got a concern that it's going to be two-storey, that actually with the flats are going to have an impact of outlook. Because it is offset to the south slightly.
It's right on, but it is on the other side of the buildings. This section stays single-storey.
It is, but for the people upstairs, though, suddenly they're going to have this lumps. Well, no, it's not going to be that oblique because the new building's going to be to the right slightly of this at the moment, isn't it?
Do they have any windows looking down that way? Surely
It's not. Well, it's the outlook. You can see. So the diagonal going across that flat roof, they're going to suddenly have this blank wall there, isn't it? And
yes, but the view from Beachview Close is not that direction, is it? It's either looking down the Warren Road or backwards, wherever that is. Across. I don't think there's any view at the end, because John is right. It's a balcony where people just. Yeah, can you
no, from the windows at the back.
I think it would be. It's up to you. I think it would be a bit of a stretch to say something that's here would be affecting the view from this window. I don't think it would.
I think because their view is onto Paul's Island, and I don't think it's in between.
Oh, no, their view looks down towards Lusty.
It's 20
They're right off because Paul's Island's that way.
We've got a bit more to go. Right, what are we saying? No objection.
Strongly second that point about the flat roof is out of character with the area, and looks,
Are you proposing objection?
ruins the, yeah, actually.
Okay, anybody going to say
Thank you.
objection? Steve's going to do that.
So there's that, and I can't see any solar panels on here. Did anyone else see them? I can't see anything about B bricks and, exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
Design is out of, I think
The design is out of keeping.
because it's out of character.
That's the main one, yes, absolutely. But these other points, thank you as well. And there's there's something about the design that there's a considerable loss of greenery, which, okay, maybe you have to lose some to get the house, and I understand that. But they don't seem to have made any effort around building in. There's nothing on the designs to indicate any efforts to bring back any of that greenery with the current design. So we would prefer to see something that is a bit more in keeping with the greenery of the street scene and the Newquay character in the area.
We're just saying it's out of character.
And then finally, as a fifth point, is, again, it's regretting the loss of the Cornish wall, because I don't think we'd get away with, full objection on those grounds. I understand they need a driveway, but it is a significant loss, and that sort of backs up the point number 4, which is that given that you're losing that, what are you doing to replace the character in the biodiversity sense in the area as well? Because it's a green area. As Councillor Hicks says, people walk down there for a pleasant walk to the beach, and we don't want it turning into essentially a warehouse type. Could you use the term warehouse? Warehouse looking. In principle, not objecting to a building, just how it's done.
On our character study, we talk about protecting Philippine Road. This is
So, application, this one shouldn't take long. Oh gosh, right. Application 9, PA 2405046, 30 Church Street, St Column Minor. Proposed rear single-storey extension. If we can start off with the block plan, we're opposite the church that's going to be doing up. So we've got, let's see if we get this to work. Right, okay, see if it stops flashing. There we go. So we're opposite the church. Church is being done up at the moment, and what we're seeing is like an infill extension at the rear, so no change at the front again. Street view, just to show that we can't see the rear. There we go. It's this one in here.
Can you see it from, is it Henwood or what's the name of the road that?
There's a little there is a road round the back. No, the little road round the back. There's a little cul-de-sac round the back. If we, and you say proposed block plan. So it's here. This is the cul-de-sac you're talking about. So. But you can see that it's not even filling the whole gap in. It's just doing a small extension at the back here. It's still quite a distance from that. It's single story. It's not putting on anything.
I'm just going to flip between the two.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So it's not going really beyond what's already there. So existing ground floor. let's get this the right way round. So this is the Church Road side, I think. Hang on, oh gosh, they changed them around. So yes, because that's the front door there, isn't it? So this is what they've got at the moment. They've got a bedroom at the back at the moment. This is the kitchen and the dining room. And if you then go to the proposed, then you can see that the kitchen is going to become a utility room. The kitchen's moving over, and then the dining room is going to be knocked into this space here. So they're like losing the bedroom. That bedroom's going to become a living area. And they're going to have concertina glass doors then into the garden, and opening up this corner really to make it more light and airy. So the existing elevations, I think if we focus on the back, this is the back that we're going to be doing. So that's the kitchen window at the moment. And then if we look at the bedroom at the back with the French doors already there, and then we look at the proposed, then we can see the concertina door at the back, and the two windows at the side. But there's already two windows at the side, so they're just moving them nearer to the neighbour. So, and that doesn't change on the other side at all. So I have.
So you're going to make a proposal?
I propose support this. I've got no issues with it. Unless there's any questions.
Anybody want a second, Steve?
Yeah, I'll second that. This is reasonably close to where I currently live. Church Street, it's a popular area to live, and I'm pleased to see a householder application that improves their living space without adding the need for more parking or anything like that. So, you know, people living in the same space, and because the Church Street is under significant pressure for parking and access. So, you know, to see somebody making the most of the property they have in an area that is well liked, I think, and we have a policy to support extensions to existing properties for household applications.
Okay, show of hands for support.
I haven't put my mic on at all through that. As I say, it's not really visible from the street.
The site, if you look at the site plan, is it big enough? Yes.
Yes, I would say so. So it's quite a generous plot, to be honest.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, I wasn't going to release any problems. I was going to say the closest to the visual change is probably Grey Gables, which is next to Blue House. Yeah, and that's quite a distance away, and you know, Tregurrian is it's quite a dense settlement, so I don't think this will change the nature of the settlement at all. You can just see from the B road, you can just see past the corner of the barn house. If you're very careful, you can just see the corner of the building, and even from that aspect, you'll see maybe a 10% change. So it's got good boundaries. It's in relation to the properties around it. Again, it's an area that's just being. It's a very small change to the footprint for a fairly large change to the mass of the building, which I think is something we should probably welcome. So I'd suggest support for this one. Propose.
No, in principle, I think that's well said. Thank you. I didn't quite catch whether there were solar panels on, and I'm not sure whether it can be done in this.
No, there isn't anything. We could add a G2
Just a comment, but I do understand if it does end up
all
being
we can
too
do is
difficult.
encourage.
Yeah, thank you.
In 2011,
Blimey.
back in 2021, this committee gave its support to application PA 21 00015, which sought a change of use from an HMO to a single dwelling, plus a rear extension and a couple of dormers. Oh, right, okay. This is an application where permission was granted but not built to the approved plans. They built it, but they didn't approve. So effectively, it's retrospective, which we're not always that happy with, are we? Yeah, just very quickly, that's your red line site. DNA statement.
Well, that's basically what I would have to say, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's actually to do really with what they're building. So the revision consists, it says the revision consists mainly
So they, in
of,
the process of building, or have they completed?
they've done it.
Okay, sorry.
The addition of an external spiral staircase, which is wood-clad to minimise overlooking, small amendments to the ground floor openings, and the addition of solid screening to the northwest corner at first floor level that would add privacy to the first floor balcony area. If I remember from my notes correctly, I think we'll see that whilst it says that revision mainly consists of, we will see that there is more than that going on. Right, so 1A and 1B. Right, let's have a look at these. So when it says,
I remember this.
It's beautifully done at the front, and they've taken the bay up to the second floor, which is lovely.
right, so that was what was, right, let's just come down here. Right, so this is what was approved. So I'm going to go left to right here. So this is what was approved, and this is what they are referring to as the existing proposed. Existing because they've already done it. So we have a spiral staircase has been added. The pitched roof dormer is taller. You see at the front there, that only goes 4/5 of the way up the roof. It goes all the way up the roof. There is also an additional dormer which wasn't included at all on the approved plans.
It's just to the left of me.
Oh, yeah.
It does look lovely, I have to say.
Right. I was then going to quickly turn to the street view, and I was going to go 2020 is before.
Which one are we looking at?
You'll see in a second.
The palm tree in the garden.
There you go.
That looks done, yeah,
That's it being done, and that's it done. So this here is much taller than it would have been, and this didn't exist on the existing plans, but it clearly does now. What do you think about?
Be that they've not added a dormer, it's a cupola. Do you know what I mean? It's not a dormer. They've put the bay right up and added a cupola on the top. You know, so it's created a circular look. That I would imagine the top bay. So looking down Tower Road towards kind of the Red Lion. If you're in the left-hand window of that, you're looking straight in the windows of the other bays now. You can look. That's caused overlooking into the White House there. And to the house next to it, you're looking down into those bays. I don't know what the rooms are. If they're HMO, they might be normally occupied rooms, and that would therefore be an issue, I think.
It's not an HMO anymore.
No, but okay, no. So it was an HMO. It's going back. So it's going the other way around, isn't it? So if their bedrooms probably doesn't create any issue. It's a pity that it's been rendered because we've lost another stone-faced building. You know, we've lost the rubble and coin of the character of the street, but a lot of the other buildings have already been rendered, but it almost went stone, render, stone, render, stone, render all the way down. That's just a look issue. I don't like generic powder-coated windows frames, but I think it's, for what it is, it's been done well, but if we authorise this, does it create precedent for the rest of the buildings?
Issues at the rear that we have to look at as well. Okay.
Why have they added an extra spiral staircase if it's going to be a single dwelling?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I would say that's a separate entrance.
Yeah, to the upstairs and the floor.
So it's not, to me,
Right.
that's not a single dwelling. That might be a cynic. But who needs two staircases, one on the outside of the property with its own access?
Right. So that's you're looking there at the bottom left hand is that's the approved elevation, and this is the proposal. So they want the stairs to access the balcony. So they want to be able to go from the balcony into the back garden without walking through the house. And as you can see, it's a much sharper, higher pitch, and the rear dormer is bigger than it was as well. I've got a note here that says the balcony is no longer enclosed. It has been opened up to wrap around the full width of the building, part of the side, hence the need for the built solid screen.
Well, do we feel strong enough about this to say knock it down?
That's the question, isn't it?
I think at the front it's a shame and it might set a precedent. At the rear it's like most rear access, it's quite hidden anyway, so you know I'm not surprised they've made the most out of the rear because it looks back over the There's no objection if it's a post application anyway, don't we? Because we don't want to say this.
I think we need it needs reassurance that there's no overlooking, because they've opened the
I would
balcony
say no
up
overlooking
now.
and no.
Yeah, sorry. Objection myself. Thank you. Yeah.
Can we also point out that effectively this extension of the spar at the back means that people on the landing, looking at the size of it, it's the height of the balcony, can effectively look into the neighbour's property.
Yeah, we'll say concerns about overlooking.
Yeah.
We must,
And why?
Okay, carry on.
Yeah.
we must move on, because we've had a
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
And why we need the staircase,
So-
to be honest.
We now getting on to my favourite application, by any chance.
Only got 10 minutes.
Yeah. What do you want to,
Just say no.
do you want to know what I know? Because
You tell us.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
10 minutes.
I'm most confused. I'll start us off, I think, just with, I mean, I think we all know this application, don't we? I'd like to think everybody in this room is pretty familiar with this, after all, we've been through with it. So that is the site plan. I picked out one camera all the way down to.
Is this the existing? Or is this the new one?
Yeah. So this here,
Yeah.
this is what was. This is effectively the layout that was approved.
Yeah.
This would seem to be all about the layout. Due to the delays associated with the relocation of the surgery, which is really where Block 2 is, which is actually open market housing, well, the developer wishes to make a start on the open market housing, on the development, but this delay with the surgery moving appears to have slowed everything up. So they would like to make a start on the open market housing. In my understanding, it's without making a start on the affordable dwelling. So effectively, yes, I believe so. But it's not in a planning condition, it's part of a planning obligation, which I haven't had sight of. And which have, so they also want the option, if delays persist, the affordable housing obligation could be delivered in the form of an off-site contribution. In other words, giving Cornwall Council the requisite amount of money for them to deliver the affordable housing at a site other than that currently agreed. I should point out at this stage, Cornwall Council need to establish if they are or aren't happy with the detail of the modification that is written in horrible legalese. And it's also my understanding that Cornwall Council will be strongly led by the response they receive from Richard Hawkey and the affordable housing team.
Right.
What are you going to do with that?
I can do exactly what I'm going to do.
Go on then.
Basically, we, as you know, this was extremely contentious, and Cornwall Council rubber stamped this through. We refused to take it sort of rode a coach and horses through the neighbourhood plan, and Cornwall Council refused to take it to committee where we could have discussed the implications, and eventually we were presented with a report that says we're going to override the neighbourhood plan because it's providing affordable house, or it's providing houses in a good quality houses in a central town.
I can add something here. The officer's report says the introduction of the proposed new homes, including affordable homes in a main town at a time of housing crisis, weighs heavily in favour of
and that was their
approving
excuse.
this
And I just really let it off steam. So basically, they pushed this through on the basis that they were going to provide affordable housing. It was actually going to be an old people's home, wasn't it? Or it was terribly badly designed, but effectively they were providing affordable housing, and they are now saying we don't want to provide any affordable housing. I could not object more strongly. That was the whole reason behind this, and they're now saying, oh, we'll pay a bit of money to Cornwall Council, and we can sell those flats for, because they're not just suggesting not building those flats, are they? No. So, I mean, they can sell those for a few million. And the whole point about this was that they overrode our plan on the basis of our housing shortage. We do not have a housing shortage of luxury flats with or without internal greenhouses on our coastal path. They have set a brand new precedent by making it 6 stories instead of 4, and I could not object more strongly to their proposal of trying to get weasel out of providing affordable housing. Steve?
Yeah, I'll second the
That was a proposal.
okay, I'll propose an objection to this then. In a similar vein, the justification given for the abnormal acceptance of this proposal was that, you know, the provision of on-site affordable housing was essential to the survival of Newquay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put more pressure on Newquay without that, you know. So these, you know, if we give money to Cornwall Council, they could spend it in Hale, they could spend it in Liskeard, they could spend it wherever the flipping heck they like, and it will not benefit Newquay. We'll lose our community, our loved frontage, which we kind of, you know, once it was approved, we kind of had to accept it because we couldn't fight it anymore. You know, this is the reasons given by both the divisional member and the planning authority for approving this and or not calling it in was a provision of
suitable, affordable housing in the centre of Newquay. And I can't think of another site in the centre of Newquay that you can fit one of those on. No. So this is, by definition, it has to be further away. You know, so again, just object to it. I just I want to put fume in there somewhere and angry, and this seems Solvar are not a poor developer. They are not reliant on the financing of these properties to build this. You know, this is not a developer that doesn't have deep pockets. So they can build this and they can prove that what they were doing is providing affordable houses all along, build the affordable housing and then build the other bit later.
The bit that I didn't understand, I'll just say, is that block 2 is where the surgery is. I don't understand why that means that they can't build behind it.
That was a great,
The point I was going to raise, that the argument doesn't seem to make sense.
It always was going to be a phased development. It always was going to be a phased development. They were always going to do block 1 before they did block 2. No, I couldn't agree with you more, Steve. I think it's, if this had been presented to us with no affordable housing,
it would have been approved.
Well, we said no anyway, but Cornwall Council would have had no excuse to override the process, not present it to committee, so we didn't have a chance to present our case.
We're not surprised to see this application.
I'm not this remote surprised to see it. I think it was written all.
And unsurprised.
Yes, and very.
I would suggest that the comment that goes back says.
Fig leaf, they used the affordable housing as the fig leaf for running a coach and horses, or tension was their word, through the neighbourhood plan. That was the fig leaf of having those affordable housing. And now they've given the planning permission and they're asking now to not have to do the affordable housing. I think it's absolutely, I thought the whole thing was disgraceful, and I think this is just making it even more disgraceful. So I'm not pleased, so I'm proposing objection. Seconded. Does anybody disagree?
Are we allowed to put emojis on our response?
Can I just add as well that they haven't actually proposed what's going to be happening to the site if it's not there?
Well, they're going to build. They're going to
we don't know, do we? We really don't know.
At the moment, we just have to deal with the modification of the
yes.
planning obligation.
But we know that if they call council accept that.
I'm saying that there's no indication as to what's going to be there.
But I think we need to make this point.
No, there were some emails that we were copied into from Mr. Keith. I don't know if you've seen them, and Sarah was interested. Sarah might have a conversation with you about those. But that we can't really deal with that now.
I think Sia.
This is something that the government did in 2015,
Yeah, but it was
and I've
basically-
included this in
It was basically-
response
it
to
was
Cornwall
done
Council.
to-
You need Cornwall Council. You need Cornwall Council's cooperation, and they're not willing to do that. But yes, it was an interesting
And
idea.
I only read it because it's where my mum and dad used to live. I don't go hunting around the country for planning fields. Tony was like, you must be more of a geek than me.
It's amazing, actually. You read
I couldn't
everything.
believe it. I read it, I thought this would just dovetail into something.
Okay,
Oh,
so that's,
sorry.
so any items for information and discussion only?
There's one very interesting pre-application advice for, you remember the flats on 236 Hendra Road? So they built the one at the front, they built it too tall, and Cornwall Council let them get away with it, and they built another one at the rear, and then they haven't got away with that. We looked at those plans and objected to them a few months ago, so they've gone back to the drawing board. Bearing in mind this is a built structure, and the officer has basically said that we're not going anywhere near supporting this until you at least take one floor off the whole building.
I have to, the front structure is very
Nothing that's that relevant.